Jake Sullivan's coffee cup exploded in his fist. Hot liquid burned his skin. Ceramics sliced his palm. Blood dripped onto the table. He didn't feel any of it. His eyes were locked on the waitress, on the bruise she tried to hide at the corner of her mouth. That bruise. He knew that bruise. He'd seen it on his sister's face 20 years ago. 3 weeks later, Sarah was dead. Jake had sworn on her grave, never again. Tonight, God was testing that promise, and Jake Sullivan never broke a promise. If you believe in justice, in protecting the innocent, in second chances, subscribe now and stay until the end. Comment your city below. I want to see how far this story reaches, because what happens next will change how you see the world. Jake, wake up. Razor's voice cut through the phone like a knife. Jake sat up in bed. 2:47 a.m. What? Sunset Diner. Now. Don't ask questions, just come. The line went dead. Jake grabbed his jacket and ran. The ride took 11 minutes. Jake made it in 6. He killed the engine and walked inside. Razor sat in the corner booth with Big Tommy and Hawk. Their faces were stone. Sit down, Razor said. Tell me what's going on. Sit down first. Jake sat. Talk. Razor nodded toward the counter. The waitress, brown hair. Look at her face. Jake turned. She was young, mid-30s maybe. Light brown hair pulled back. Tired eyes. She moved between tables like a ghost, refilling coffee, clearing plates, smiling at customers. But the smile was wrong. Too careful. Too practiced. Then she turned into the light. Jake stopped breathing. The bruise sat at the corner of her lip. Dark purple. Fresh. Makeup couldn't hide it. Nothing could hide that kind of mark. How long? Jake's voice came out rough. Don't know. Big Tommy saw her 2 weeks ago with a black eye. She got a man? Boyfriend. Derek Mason. Runs the auto shop on 5th. Kids? Razor paused. A daughter, 7 years old. Jake's hands curled into fists. A child. There was a child in that house. What do you want to do, Prez? Jake watched the woman wipe down a table. Her left hand pressed against her ribs. Broken, probably. Or cracked. He'd seen it 100 times. We stay, Jake said. We watch. And when the time comes, we move. Yeah, we move. Her name was Emma Carter. Jake learned this on the second night when he came back alone. She approached his booth with a coffee pot and a guarded smile. You again. Me again. The coffee here isn't that good. I've had worse. She refilled his cup. Her hands trembled slightly. You're Jake Sullivan, president of the local chapter. Does that scare you? Emma almost laughed. Almost. Mister, I've learned there are scarier things than leather jackets. She walked away before he could respond. Jake watched her go. Something about the way she said it, the weight behind those words, made his chest tight. Third night, Jake sat in the same booth, same coffee, same questions burning in his mind. Emma was busier tonight, more customers, more tables, more chances to see how she moved, always checking the window, always listening for the door, always ready to run. At 10 p.m., she finally took a break. She slid into the booth across from Jake without asking. You're here every night. You noticed. Hard not to. Big guy, leather jacket, sits alone, never eats anything. She tilted her head. You're watching me. Jake didn't deny it. Why? He could have lied, could have made up some excuse about the coffee or the pie or the late night quiet. But something in her eyes stopped him. She deserved the truth. Because I've seen that bruise before, Jake said quietly, on someone I loved. Emma's face went pale. Her hand flew to her lip, that instinctive gesture he'd seen a dozen times now. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, you do. Silence. The jukebox played an old country song. A trucker laughed at something on the television. Emma's eyes filled with tears. Please, just leave it alone. I can't do that. Why not? Everyone else does. Jake reached into his jacket. He pulled out a photograph, worn at the edges, faded by time and touch. A young woman smiled from the image. Blonde hair, bright eyes, a smile that could light up a room. Her name was Sarah, Jake said. My sister. She was 22 when she met him, 24 when he killed her. Emma stared at the photograph. Her lips parted. No sound came out. I didn't see it, Jake continued. Or maybe I didn't want to see it. She said she walked into doors. She said she fell downstairs. I believed her because it was easier than asking hard questions. Jake, by the time I stopped believing, she was in the ground. Emma's tears spilled over. She wiped them away quickly, angrily. I'm sorry about your sister, but I'm not her. My situation is different. It's always different, until it's not. You don't understand. Derek, he's not always like this. When he's sober, he's kind. He's sweet. He tells me he loves me. And when he's drunk? Emma didn't answer. She didn't have to. You have a daughter, Jake said. Lily, 7 years old, loves books, wants to be a teacher. Emma's head snapped up. How do you know that? I asked around. You had no right. I had every right. Jake leaned forward. Because I'm not going to watch another woman die while everyone else looks away. The door slammed open. Every head in the diner turned. A man stood in the doorway, mid-40s, broad shoulders, mechanic's jacket with Derek stitched on the pocket. His face was red. His eyes were wild. He stank of whiskey and rage. Emma went white. Derek, she whispered, what are you doing here? What am I doing here? He stormed toward the counter. What am I doing here? You didn't answer your phone, Emma. You know what happens when you don't answer your phone. It died. The battery. Don't lie to me. He grabbed her arm and yanked her forward. Emma cried out in pain. The diner went silent. The truckers stared at their plates. The old man at the counter suddenly found his coffee very interesting. Nobody moved. Nobody except Jake. Let her go. Derek spun around. His lip curled when he saw Jake standing there. 6'2", silver beard, leather jacket, eyes like frozen steel. Who the hell are you? Doesn't matter who I am. Let her go. This is between me and my woman. Mind your own business. She is my business. Derek laughed. It was an ugly sound. Oh yeah? What are you going to do about it, old man? Jake didn't answer. He just stood there, calm, still, waiting. Derek's grip tightened on Emma's arm. She whimpered. Derek, please, she begged. Just let me finish my shift. I'll come home right after, I promise. You'll come home now. I can't. I need this job. We need the money. He slapped her. The sound echoed through the diner like a gunshot. Emma stumbled backward, her hand pressed to her cheek. Fresh tears streamed down her face. Jake moved. He didn't remember crossing the distance. 1 second he was standing by the booth. The next his hand was wrapped around Derek's throat. Jake! Razor shouted from across the diner. Jake, don't! But Jake couldn't hear him. All he could hear was the blood pounding in his ears. All he could see was Sarah's face, bruised, broken, begging for help that never came. You like hitting women? Jake's voice was barely human. You feel like a big man, tough guy, beating up someone half your size? Derek clawed at Jake's hand. His face turned purple. His eyes bulged. Jake! Razor was beside him now, pulling at his arm. Let him go, you'll kill him. Maybe that's the point. Think about Emma. Think about Lily. If you kill him, you go to prison. Who protects them then? The words cut through the rage. Jake blinked. He looked at Emma, cowering behind the counter, terrified, watching him with wide eyes. He released Derek. The man crumpled to the floor, gasping, coughing, clutching his throat. Jake crouched down beside him. His voice dropped to a whisper that only Derek could hear. Listen carefully. I'm going to say this once. If you ever touch her again, if you ever come near her again, If I hear so much as a rumor that you raised your voice to her, I will find you, and I will finish what I started tonight." Derek's eyes were wide with terror. "You're crazy. You're insane." "Maybe, but I'm also a man who keeps his promises." Jake stood up. "Now get out of here, before I change my mind." Derek scrambled to his feet and ran. The sound of his truck peeling out of the parking lot broke the silence. Emma was shaking. Jake approached her slowly, hands raised. "It's okay, he's gone." "He'll come back." Her voice was barely audible. "He always comes back." "Not if I can help it." "You don't understand. He'll kill me. He told me. If I ever try to leave, if I ever tell anyone." "Hey," Jake took her hands gently. They were ice cold. "Look at me. Emma, look at me." She raised her eyes. "I'm not going to let anything happen to you. Not to you, not to Lily. Do you understand? Why do you care? You don't even know me." "I know enough." Jake squeezed her hands. "I know you're scared. I know you feel trapped. I know you think there's no way out. But there is, Emma. There's always a way out, and I'm going to help you find it." Emma stared at him. The fear in her eyes shifted, just slightly, to something else. Hope. Fragile, desperate, barely there hope. "Okay," she whispered. "Okay." The next morning, Jake called church. His brothers filled the clubhouse. 23 men in leather and denim, loyal to a fault, ready for war. Jake told them everything. When he finished, the room was silent. Razor spoke first. "What's the play, Prez?" "We protect her. Starting tonight, rotating shifts at the diner. Someone walks her to her car every night. Someone follows her home. Someone watches the house." "What about Derek?" "We don't touch him. Not yet. If we move too fast, Emma gets caught in the crossfire." "And if he comes after her again?" Jake's jaw tightened. "Then God help him." Big Tommy raised his hand. "I'm in." Hawk nodded. "Me too." One by one, every man in the room pledged his support. Jake felt the weight on his shoulders lighten. He wasn't alone anymore. For the first time in 20 years, he wasn't carrying this burden by himself. "One more thing," Jake said. "This stays quiet. No bragging, no threats, no drama. We protect Emma because it's the right thing to do, not because we want credit." The men nodded. "All right then." Jake stood up. "Let's get to work." That night, 8 Hells Angels showed up at the Sunset Diner. They filled the booths. They ordered coffee and pie. They played songs on the jukebox and laughed at each other's jokes and treated Emma like she was family. She didn't know what to make of it. "Why are you all here?" she asked Jake during a quiet moment. "We like the pie." "The pie is terrible." "Then we like the company." Emma almost smiled. Almost. "Jake, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but you can't protect me forever. Watch us. Derek's not going to just go away. He's obsessed, possessive. He checks my phone, my emails, my texts. He knows where I am every minute of every day." "Not anymore." "What do you mean?" Jake reached into his pocket and pulled out a small flip phone. Basic, untraceable. "New phone, new number. Only my people have it." Emma stared at the phone like it was made of gold. "Jake, take it. If anything happens, anything at all, you call. Day or night, someone will be there in 10 minutes. Her hands shook as she took the phone. "I don't know how to thank you." "Don't thank me yet. We've got a long way to go." 3 days passed. Derek didn't show up at the diner again. Jake's men kept watch. Emma worked her shifts. Lily stayed safe at home with Mrs. Patterson, the neighbor who had become like a grandmother to the little girl. Jake started to hope that maybe, just maybe, Derek had gotten the message. He was wrong. It was Hawk who called. "Jake, get to Emma's apartment. Now." Jake's blood went cold. "What happened?" "Derek got past us. I don't know how. He must have come through the back." Is she alive? She's alive, but Jake, you need to get here. Fast. Jake was on his bike before Hawk finished talking. The apartment was chaos, broken furniture, shattered glass, blood on the walls. Emma sat on the floor, her back against the couch, her arms wrapped around Lily. The little girl was crying hysterically. Emma's face was a mess. Split lip, swollen eye, bruises already forming on her cheekbones. But she was alive. They were both alive. Jake dropped to his knees beside her. Emma, look at me. Are you okay? He came through the bathroom window. Her voice was flat, hollow, empty. I didn't even hear him until he was in the bedroom. Where is he now? Gone. He ran when he heard the motorcycles. Jake looked at Hawk. Find him. Already on it. Razor and Big Tommy are searching the neighborhood. He won't go far. Jake turned back to Emma. We need to get you to a hospital. No hospitals. He'll find me there. Emma, I said no. Her voice cracked. Lily sobbed harder. Please, Jake, just let me stay here. Let me hold my daughter, please. Jake's heart broke. He'd seen this before. The fear, the helplessness, the desperate need to pretend everything was normal. He'd seen it in Sarah's eyes right before the end. Okay, Jake said gently. Okay, no hospital, but you're not staying here. Pack a bag, whatever you can carry, you're coming with me. Where? Somewhere safe. Somewhere he'll never find you. Emma looked up at him. Her swollen eyes searched his face, looking for lies, for tricks, for the catch. She found nothing but truth. Okay, she whispered. Okay. They moved at midnight. Jake had a safe house, a small cabin his grandfather had built 40 years ago, deep in the mountains, off every grid, known only to his inner circle. Emma and Lily rode in Big Tommy's truck. Jake led the way on his bike. Razor brought up the rear. The drive took 2 hours. Nobody followed them. At 3 a.m., Emma and Lily were settled in the cabin. Fresh sheets on the beds, food in the fridge, a fire crackling in the hearth. Jake stood by the door ready to leave. Stay, Emma said suddenly. He turned. What? Please, just for tonight. Lily's scared. I'm scared. She looked down at her hands. I don't want to be alone. Jake hesitated. He thought about protocol, about boundaries, about all the reasons he should go. Then he looked at Lily, 7 years old, asleep on the couch, tear tracks still visible on her cheeks. And none of those reasons mattered anymore. I'll take the chair, he said. Emma almost smiled. Thank you. She woke up screaming at 4 a.m. Jake was at her side in seconds. Emma, you're safe. You're safe. She clutched his arm, her nails digging into his skin. Her eyes were wild, unfocused, trapped in a nightmare. He was here. He was in the room. I saw him. He's not here, I promise. Look at me. Emma, look at me. She focused on his face. Her breathing slowed. Her grip loosened. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. Don't apologize. You have nothing to apologize for. I keep seeing his face every time I close my eyes. I know. How do you know? Jake was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke. After Sarah died, I didn't sleep for 2 years. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her. The way she looked at the funeral, the bruises they couldn't hide, the expression on her face, like she'd been waiting for death as a relief. Emma's eyes filled with tears. I blamed myself, Jake continued, every single day. I should have seen it. I should have saved her. I should have killed him before he killed her. What stopped you? Nothing. Jake's voice went hard. I found him 6 months after the funeral. I found him in a bar in Nevada, drunk, laughing, living his life like nothing had happened. What did you do? Jake didn't answer. Emma understood. Is that why you're helping me? She asked. Because of what you did? Or because of what you didn't do? Jake met her eyes. Both. Neither. I don't know anymore. He took a breath. All I know is that when I saw you in that diner, when I saw that bruise on your face, I saw Sarah. And I swore to myself right then and there that I wouldn't let history repeat itself. Even if it means risking everything? Especially then. Emma reached out and took his hand. Her touch was warm, gentle, real. Thank you, she said, for seeing me, for not looking away. Jake squeezed her hand. I'll never look away. Not from you. Not from Lily. Not ever. Razor called at dawn. We found him. Jake stepped outside to take the call. Where? Motel 6 outside of Flagstaff. Room 112. He's alone. Jake's grip tightened on the phone. Don't do anything. Not yet. Jake. I mean it, Razor. Watch him. Don't engage. I'll be there in 3 hours. What are you going to do? Jake looked back at the cabin. Through the window, he could see Emma sitting on the couch, Lily asleep in her lap. Two broken souls clinging to each other in the darkness. I'm going to end this, Jake said, once and for all. The road to Flagstaff stretched out like a black ribbon through the desert. Jake pushed his bike hard, the engine screaming beneath him, the wind cutting through his jacket like a blade. 3 hours. That's all Derek Mason had left. 3 hours before everything changed. Jake's phone buzzed in his pocket. He ignored it. Then it buzzed again. And again. He pulled over and checked the screen. 7 missed calls from Emma. He called her back immediately. Jake. Her voice was trembling. Jake, where are you? On my way to handle something. What's wrong? Lily woke up. She's asking for you. She won't stop crying. She keeps saying the bad man is coming back. Jake closed his eyes. He thought about that little girl, 7 years old, already scarred by things no child should ever see. He thought about what he was about to do, and he thought about what kind of man he wanted to be when this was all over. Put her on the phone, he said. There was rustling, then a small, hiccuping voice. Jake? Hey, sweetheart, I heard you had a bad dream. The bad man was here. He was hurting Mommy again. I tried to stop him, but I couldn't. I'm not strong enough. Jake's heart cracked in two. Listen to me, Lily. Are you listening? Yes. The bad man is never going to hurt your mommy again. I promise you. And I never break my promises, okay? How do you know? Because I'm going to make sure of it. Right now. Today. There was a pause. Then, are you going to hurt him? Jake didn't answer. He couldn't lie to her, but he couldn't tell her the truth either. I'm going to make sure he can never hurt anyone ever again, Jake said finally. That's what matters. Can you be brave for me? Can you take care of your mommy until I get back? I can be brave. That's my girl. I'll see you soon, okay? Okay, Jake? Yeah? I love you. 3 words. 3 simple words from a child he'd known for less than a month. And they hit him harder than any punch he'd ever taken. I love you too, sweetheart. Now go give your mommy a hug. He hung up and stared at the phone for a long moment. Then he got back on his bike and rode toward Flagstaff with a new kind of fire burning in his chest. This wasn't just about Emma anymore. This was about Lily. This was about every child who had ever watched their mother bleed. This was about making things right. Razor was waiting in the parking lot when Jake arrived. Big Tommy stood by the motel room door, arms crossed, face like stone. Room 112, Razor said. He's been in there all night, hasn't come out once. Anyone else with him? No, he's alone. Jake nodded. You two stay here. This is between me and him. Jake. I said stay here. Razor held up his hands. Your call, Prez, but if things go sideways, they won't. Jake walked to room 112. He didn't knock. He kicked the door open with one powerful strike. Derek Mason was sitting on the bed, a bottle of whiskey in his hand, his eyes red and wild. He jumped up when the door crashed open, but he didn't run. He couldn't. Jake was already inside, filling the doorway like a wall of leather and rage. You, Derek's voice was slurred. You think you can just take her? She's mine. Emma is mine. She was never yours. I'll kill you. I swear to God, I'll kill you. Derek lunged. Jake sidestepped, caught him by the collar, and slammed him face first into the wall. Derek crumpled to the floor, blood streaming from his nose. Get up, Jake said. Go to hell. I said get up. Jake grabbed him by the hair and hauled him to his feet. Derek swung wildly, his fist connecting with nothing but air. Jake drove his knee into Derek's stomach. The man doubled over, gasping. You think you're tough? Jake's voice was ice. You think beating a woman makes you a man? Let me show you what a real man feels like. He hit Derek again, and again, and again. Each punch was 20 years of guilt. Each impact was a promise to Sarah, to Emma, to Lily. Each crack of bone was justice too long delayed. Jake, stop! Razor's voice cut through the red haze. Jake looked down. Derek lay on the floor, barely conscious, his face a bloody mess. You're going to kill him, Razor said. Maybe that's what he deserves. Maybe, but that's not your call to make. Jake stood there, breathing hard, his knuckles split and bleeding. He looked at Derek, pathetic, broken, whimpering on the floor, and felt nothing but disgust. You have two choices, Jake said. Leave town tonight, disappear, never come back, never contact Emma or Lily again, or stay, and I'll finish what I started. You can't. Jake grabbed his throat and squeezed. I can do whatever I want. You're nothing. You understand? Nothing. The only reason you're still breathing is because a 7-year-old girl asked me not to hurt you. So you can thank Lily for your life. He released Derek and stepped back. You have until midnight. After that, all bets are off. Jake walked out without looking back. Razor and Big Tommy fell into step beside him. Think he'll run? Razor asked. He'll run. Men like him are cowards at heart. They only fight people who can't fight back. And if he doesn't? Jake climbed onto his bike. Then I'll keep my promise to Lily. I'll make sure he can never hurt anyone again. The ride back to the cabin took 3 hours. Jake used every minute to think, to plan, to prepare for what came next. Derek would run, he was sure of it. But that was only half the battle. Emma and Lily still had a long road ahead. Healing, recovery, learning to trust again. Jake wasn't sure he knew how to help with any of that. He was a biker, not a counselor. He knew how to fight, how to protect, how to intimidate. But comfort, tenderness, those were foreign languages. And yet, when he thought about Lily's voice on the phone, I love you, Jake, he knew he had to try. For her, for Emma, for Sarah, for himself. Emma was waiting on the porch when he pulled up. Her face was still bruised, her arms still in a makeshift sling, but she was standing. That was something. Is it done? She asked. It's done. Is he alive? For now. He has until midnight to leave town. Emma sagged against the porch railing. Thank you, Jake. Don't thank me yet. We need to talk about what comes next. What do you mean? Jake climbed the steps and stood beside her. Derek's going to run, but that doesn't mean you're safe. Men like him, they obsess, they stalk, they wait for the perfect moment to strike. So what do? You disappear, new name, new town, new life. Emma's face went pale. I have a job here. Lily has school. We have friends. You have nothing here except memories of pain. I'm offering you a chance to start over, a real chance, not just hiding in a cabin until he finds you again. Where would we go? I have contacts, people who help women like you. They can set you up somewhere safe. New identities, new documents, the whole thing. That sounds illegal. Does it matter? Emma was quiet for a long moment. Then she shook her head. No, I guess it doesn't. Good, We leave tomorrow night. I'll have everything arranged by then. Jake, Emma grabbed his arm. Why are you doing all this? The truth. Jake looked at her, really looked at the bruises and the fear and the desperate hope in her eyes. Because when I look at you, I see my sister. And when I look at Lily, I see the child Sarah never got to have. And because, he paused, struggling with words that didn't come easily. Because maybe if I save you, I can finally forgive myself for not saving her. Emma's eyes filled with tears. That's not a fair burden to put on yourself. Maybe not, but it's the only one I know how to carry. She reached up and touched his face. Her hand was soft, warm, gentle. You're a good man, Jake Sullivan, no matter what you think. Jake didn't know what to say to that, so he said nothing. But for the first time in 20 years, he almost believed it. Midnight came and went. Razor called with an update. Derek Mason's truck had been spotted heading east on I-40. He'd packed everything he could carry and run like the coward he was. Want me to follow him? Razor asked. No, let him go. As long as he keeps running, he's not our problem. And if he stops, then we'll deal with it. Jake hung up and turned to Emma. He's gone. She let out a breath she'd been holding for years. Her whole body seemed to deflate, the tension draining out of her like water from a broken pipe. It's really over? This part is. The next part starts tomorrow. Emma nodded slowly. New town, new name, new life. You scared? Terrified, she almost smiled. But I'm also, she struggled for the word, hopeful. Is that crazy? No, that's human. Lily came padding out from the bedroom, rubbing her eyes. Mommy, is Jake here? I'm here, sweetheart. The little girl ran to him and wrapped her arms around his legs. Jake froze for a moment. He still wasn't used to this, to being needed, to being loved. Then reached down and lifted her up. The bad man's gone, Jake said. He's never coming back. You promised. I did, and I kept my promise, just like I said I would. Lily buried her face in his shoulder. I don't want to go to a new place. I want to stay here with you. Jake's throat tightened. He looked at Emma over Lily's head. She was crying silently, tears streaming down her bruised cheeks. I know, sweetheart, Jake said softly. I know. The next 24 hours were a blur of activity. Jake made calls, called in favors, pulled strings he hadn't touched in years. By noon, everything was arranged. New identities for Emma and Lily, a small apartment in Colorado, a job at a women's shelter where Emma could help others who had walked the same dark road. Big Tommy drove to the nearest town and bought supplies. Clothes, toiletries, enough cash to last 3 months. Hawk stayed at the cabin, keeping watch. Doc came by to check Emma's injuries and change her bandages. Through it all, Jake stayed by her side. He didn't hover. He didn't push. He was just there, a steady presence in the chaos, an anchor in the storm. That night, after Lily had gone to sleep, Emma found Jake sitting on the porch, staring at the stars. Can I join you? It's a free country. She sat down beside him, close enough that their shoulders almost touched. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. I've been thinking, Emma said finally. About what? About what you said, about seeing your sister when you look at me. She paused. Is that all you see? Jake turned to face her. In the moonlight, her bruises looked like shadows. Her eyes were deep and dark and full of something he couldn't name. No, he said, it's not all I see. What else? Jake struggled with the words. He'd spent 20 years building walls around his heart. Opening them now felt like surgery without anesthesia. I see strength, he said, courage, a woman who took everything life threw at her and still found reasons to hope. I see a mother who would die for her child, a survivor who refuses to give up. Emma's breath caught. And I see, Jake stopped, swallowed hard. I see someone I wish I'd met a long time ago, before all this, before everything. Emma's hand found his in the darkness. their fingers intertwined. Jake, Don't. He shook his head. Don't say anything. Not now. You're vulnerable. You're hurt. You don't need an old biker complicating your life. What if I want you to complicate my life? Jake closed his eyes. Every instinct told him to pull away, to protect her from himself, to maintain the distance that had kept him safe for so long. But her hand was warm in his, and her eyes were looking at him like he was worth something. Emma. His phone rang. Jake pulled it out and checked the screen. Razor. Again. What? Jake, we have a problem. A big one. Talk to me. Derek didn't run east. That was a decoy. He sent his truck with some guy he paid off. The real Derek doubled back. Jake's blood went cold. Where is he now? That's the problem. We don't know. He disappeared about 6 hours ago. Jake, he could be anywhere. Jake hung up and turned to Emma. His face told her everything she needed to know. He's coming back, she whispered. It wasn't a question. We don't know that. Yes, we do. Emma's voice was flat, resigned. He always comes back. That's what he does. That's who he is. Listen to me. Jake grabbed her shoulders. I'm not going to let anything happen to you. Do you hear me? Nothing. You can't promise that. Watch me. He pulled out his phone and started making calls. Razor, Big Tommy, Hawk, Doc, every brother he trusted with his life. Lock down the cabin, no one in or out. Eyes on every approach. If Derek Mason comes within a mile of this place, I want to know about it. Within an hour, the cabin was surrounded. 6 men, 6 bikes, 6 sets of eyes watching the darkness. Jake stayed inside with Emma and Lily. He checked the windows, checked the doors, checked the gun he kept in his jacket. Jake, Emma's voice was steady now, calm in a way that scared him more than tears would have. If something happens, nothing's going to happen. If something happens, I need you to promise me something. What? Take care of Lily, no matter what. Promise me you'll take care of my daughter. Jake looked at her, at this woman who had been through hell and was still thinking about her child, at this mother who would sacrifice everything for a 7-year-old girl who deserved so much better than the hand life had dealt her. I promise, Jake said. On your sister's grave. He flinched, but he didn't look away. On Sarah's grave, I swear to you, Lily will be safe, whatever it takes. Emma nodded once. Then she went to the bedroom to check on her daughter. Jake stood alone in the living room, his hand on his gun, his eyes on the door. The night was just beginning. The call came at 3:47 a.m. Jake, it was Hawk, his voice tight with tension. Movement in the trees, east side. Could be nothing, could be something. How many? Can't tell, at least one, maybe more. Hold your position. Don't engage unless you have to. Jake moved to the window. The darkness outside was complete. No moon, no stars, just black on black. Emma, he kept his voice low. Wake Lily, get her dressed, be ready to move. What's happening? Just do it. She didn't argue. She went to the bedroom and closed the door. Jake's phone buzzed. Text from Razor. We got him. East tree line. He's alone. Jake felt something loosen in his chest. Alone. Derek was alone. He typed back, take him. The next few minutes felt like hours. Jake stood by the window, his ears straining for any sound. Gunshots, screams, the roar of engines. But there was nothing. Just silence. Then his phone rang. It's done. Razor's voice was grim. We got him. Alive? For now, what do you want us to do with him? Jake thought about it. He thought about Emma and Lily sleeping in the next room. He thought about Sarah and the grave he visited every year on the anniversary of her death. He thought about all the times he'd wished he could go back, do things differently, save the sister he'd failed. Bring him to me. 5 minutes later, Razor and Big Tommy dragged Derek Mason through the front door. His face was bloody. His hands were zip-tied behind his back. His eyes were wild with fear. "You can't do this," Derek sputtered. "I have rights. I'll call the cops." "Call them." Jake stepped forward. "Tell them what you did to Emma. Tell them about the broken bones, the black eyes, the night you threw her down the stairs. See how much sympathy you get." "That's my girlfriend. I can do whatever I want to my girlfriend." Jake hit him so hard Derek's head snapped back. "She's not your girlfriend anymore. She's not your anything. She's free. And you're going to stay away from her for the rest of your miserable life." "Or what? You'll kill me?" Derek laughed, blood bubbling on his lips. "You don't have the guts." Jake pulled his gun and pressed it against Derek's forehead. "Try me." The room went silent. Derek's eyes went wide. All the bravado drained from his face. For the first time he understood, truly understood, what he was dealing with. "Please," his voice cracked. "Please don't kill me. I'll leave. I'll disappear. You'll never see me again. I swear." "You said that before. You lied." "I won't lie this time. I promise. I'll go to Mexico, Canada, anywhere you want. Just please." "Mommy." Jake froze. Lily stood in the bedroom doorway, her eyes huge, her face pale. She was looking at Derek, at the blood, at the gun, at the man who had made her life a nightmare. Emma appeared behind her, trying to pull her back. "Lily, come here. You shouldn't see this." But Lily didn't move. She stared at Derek with an expression no 7-year-old should ever wear. "Is he the bad man?" she asked. Jake lowered the gun. "Yes, sweetheart, he's the bad man." "Are you going to make him go away?" "Yes." "Forever?" Jake looked at Derek, at the terror in his eyes, at the pathetic, broken excuse for a human being cowering on his knees. "Forever," Jake said. He turned to Razor. "Get him out of here. Drive him to the Mexican border. Make sure he crosses. And make sure he understands. If he ever comes back, if he ever tries to contact Emma or Lily, he won't get another warning." Razor nodded and dragged Derek toward the door. "Wait!" Lily's voice stopped them. She walked forward slowly until she was standing right in front of Derek, the man who had hit her mother, the man who had made her cry herself to sleep every night, the man she had feared for 3 years. "You're a bad man," Lily said. Her voice was clear and strong. "But I'm not scared of you anymore. And my mommy's not scared of you anymore. Because we have Jake now, and Jake protects us." Derek stared at her. He had no words. Lily turned and walked back to her mother. Emma swept her up in her arms, tears streaming down her face. Razor dragged Derek out the door. Big Tommy followed. The sound of engines roared to life and faded into the distance. And just like that, it was over. Jake stood in the middle of the living room, his hands shaking, his heart pounding. The gun felt heavy in his grip. He tucked it back into his jacket and turned to face Emma and Lily. "It's over," he said, "really over this time." Emma was still crying, but she was smiling too. A real smile, bright and beautiful. The first one Jake had ever seen reach her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you." Jake walked to them. He put one arm around Emma, the other around Lily. And for the first time in 20 years, he let himself believe that maybe, just maybe, he could have something good in his life. Maybe he could have a family. Maybe he could have love. Maybe he could finally find peace. The sun was rising over the mountains when Jake's phone rang one last time. It was Razor. "It's done. He crossed the border an hour ago. One of my contacts in Tijuana is watching him. If he tries to come back, we'll know." "Good. Thank you, brother." "What are you going to do now?" Jake looked at Emma and Lily, asleep on the couch, wrapped in each other's arms. "I'm going to live," Jake said. "For the first time in 20 years, I'm going to really live." He hung up the phone and sat down in the chair across from them. The morning light spilled through the windows, painting everything gold. And Jake Sullivan, president of the Hells Angels, veteran of 100 battles, a man who had carried guilt like a second skin for 2 decades, finally allowed himself to hope. 3 days passed since Derek crossed the border. 3 days of peace. 3 days that felt like borrowed time. Jake knew better than to trust it. He was sitting on the porch watching the sunrise when Emma came out with 2 cups of coffee. She handed one to him and sat down on the step beside him. "You didn't sleep again," she said. "I slept enough." "Jake, you've been awake every night since we got here. You can't keep doing this to yourself." "Old habits." Emma was quiet for a moment. Then she reached over and took his hand. "He's gone. You made sure of it. Why can't you let yourself rest?" Jake looked at her. The bruises on her face were fading now, yellow and green instead of purple and black. But they were still there, still reminding him of everything she'd been through. "Because I've seen this before," Jake said. "Men like Derek, they don't just disappear. They wait, they plan, and when you least expect it, they come back. So we just live in fear forever? No, we stay smart, we stay alert, and we don't make the mistake of thinking we're safe just because things are quiet." Emma squeezed his hand. "You really think he'll come back?" "I think he's a coward and a bully, and I think cowards and bullies always come back when they think no one's watching." The screen door creaked open. Lily came padding out, still in her pajamas, her hair a mess of tangles. "Jake, are you leaving?" Jake turned to her. "What makes you think I'm leaving?" "You have your worried face on. You always have your worried face on when something bad is going to happen." Jake almost smiled. This kid saw everything. "I'm not going anywhere, sweetheart. I'm right here." Lily climbed into his lap without asking. She'd been doing that a lot lately, seeking him out, wanting to be close to him, trusting him in a way that made Jake's chest ache. "Promise?" she asked. "Promise." She leaned her head against his shoulder. "Good, because Mommy smiles more when you're around." Jake looked at Emma. She was blushing, her eyes fixed on her coffee cup. "Is that so?" Jake asked. "Yes, she used to cry all the time. Now she only cries sometimes, and they're happy tears." "Lily," Emma's voice was gentle, but firm. "That's enough." "What? It's true." Jake chuckled softly. "Kids, they say whatever's on their mind." "Too much sometimes." But Emma was smiling, a real smile, the kind Jake was starting to live for. His phone buzzed. He checked the screen and his smile faded. "Who is it?" Emma asked. "Razor, I need to take this." He lifted Lily off his lap and walked to the edge of the porch. "Talk to me." "Jake, we got a problem." "What kind of problem?" "The kind that's going to ruin your day." Derek's contact in Tijuana, the guy we paid to watch him, he just turned up dead. Jake's blood went cold. "How?" "Shot twice in the head, execution style. And Derek, he's in the wind." "When?" "Sometime last night. We just found out an hour ago." Jake gripped the phone so hard he thought it might shatter. "Find him." "We're trying, but Jake, if he killed our guy, he's not running anymore. He's coming back." "I know. What do you want us to do?" Jake looked back at Emma and Lily, mother and daughter, sitting together on the porch steps, Lily playing with a strand of her mother's hair, while Emma laughed at something she said. "Increase security, double the watch, and Razor, I want eyes on every road in and out of this state. If Derek Mason shows his face, I want to know about it before he takes his next breath." "You got it, Prez." Jake hung up and stood there for a moment, letting the rage build. He'd given Derek a chance. He'd let him live, and this was how the bastard repaid him. By killing an innocent man and coming back for more. No more chances. No more mercy. This time Jake would finish it. "Jake?" Emma's voice was careful, worried. "What's wrong?" He turned to face her. He couldn't lie. She deserved the truth. "Derek killed the man we had watching him. He's coming back." Emma's face went white. Lily looked up, confused. "Mommy?" Is the bad man coming back? Emma didn't answer. She couldn't. Her mouth opened and closed, but no words came out. Jake walked back to them and crouched down in front of Lily. Listen to me, sweetheart. I need you to be brave again. Can you do that? Is he coming to hurt us? He's going to try, but I'm not going to let him. I made you a promise, remember? I keep my promises. Lily's lower lip trembled. I don't want to be scared anymore. I know, and you won't have to be. Not for much longer. I'm going to make this stop. Forever this time, okay? She nodded slowly. Okay. Jake stood up and faced Emma. We need to move. Today. Right now. Where? Colorado. The apartment's ready. My contacts have everything set up. New names, new documents, new life. But you said... Forget what I said. Derek changed the game. We need to get you and Lily out of here before he finds this place. Emma grabbed his arm. What about you? I'll be fine. Jake, Emma, he put his hands on her shoulders. My only job right now is keeping you and Lily safe. That's all that matters. Everything else is secondary. You matter too. Jake didn't know what to say to that. No one had said those words to him in 20 years. Pack your bags, he said finally. We leave in an hour. They were on the road by noon. Big Tommy drove the truck with Emma and Lily in the back seat. Jake rode his bike alongside, eyes scanning every car, every face, every shadow. Hawk and Doc followed behind in a second truck, weapons ready. The drive to Colorado would take 12 hours. 12 hours of open road, exposed and vulnerable. 12 hours for Derek to make his move. Jake's phone buzzed at the 3-hour mark. Razor. Update. We found his trail. He crossed back into Arizona yesterday morning. Stole a car from a gas station in Yuma. Which direction? East, toward Phoenix. Jake's jaw tightened. Phoenix was behind them. That meant Derek was following. How far back? Hard to say, maybe 6 hours, maybe less. Keep tracking him. I want to know every move he makes. Jake, there's something else. What? He's not alone. Picked up 2 guys in Phoenix, local muscle, career criminals. These aren't amateurs. Jake processed the information. Derek had hired backup. That meant he was planning something big, something final. Understood. Stay on him. He ended the call and pulled alongside Big Tommy's truck. Emma saw him through the window and rolled it down. What is it? Derek's behind us, maybe 6 hours back, and he's got help. Emma's face crumpled. Oh, God. Hey, look at me. Look at me, Emma. She met his eyes. Tears were streaming down her cheeks, but she didn't look away. I'm not going to let anything happen to you or Lily. Do you hear me? Nothing. I swear it on my sister's grave. How can you promise that? Because I've got something Derek doesn't have. What? Something worth fighting for. They drove through the night. Jake took turns riding alongside the truck and scouting ahead, looking for any sign of trouble. The roads were mostly empty, long stretches of highway cutting through desert and mountains, the kind of places where a man could disappear and never be found. At 2 a.m., they stopped at a gas station to refuel. Jake pulled Emma aside while Big Tommy filled the tanks. How's Lily? Sleeping, finally. She was scared for the first 6 hours, kept asking if we were almost there. And you? Emma laughed bitterly. I'm holding it together, barely. Jake took her hands. They were shaking. When this is over, he said, I want you to forget all of it. Forget Derek. Forget the fear. Forget everything except the future. What about you? Will you be part of that future? Jake hesitated. He'd been asking himself the same question for days. I don't know, he admitted. I'm a biker, Emma. I've done things you don't know about, things that would change how you look at me. I don't care. You should. Well, I don't. She stepped closer. You saved my life, Jake. You saved Lily's life. Whatever you've done in the past, it doesn't matter. What matters is who you are right now. And right now, you're the best man I've ever known." Jake wanted to believe her. God, he wanted to believe her. "Emma," his phone rang. Razor again. "Jake, they're gaining on you. Fast." "How fast?" "They'll catch up in 3 hours, maybe less." "Where are they now?" "Just outside of Albuquerque. They're pushing hard. No stops." Jake made a decision. "Okay, new plan. We're not running anymore." "What do you mean?" "Find me a location, somewhere isolated, somewhere we can make a stand." "Jake, are you sure about this?" "I'm sure. Derek wants a fight. He's going to get one. But this time, it's on my terms." Razor was quiet for a moment. Then, "There's an old truck stop about 50 miles ahead. Abandoned, been closed for years. Remote, no witnesses." "Perfect. Send me the coordinates." "Jake, be careful." "Always." He hung up and turned to Emma. Her face was pale, terrified. "What's happening?" "Change of plans. We're not running to Colorado." "What? Why?" "Because Derek is 3 hours behind us and closing fast. If we keep running, he'll catch us on the open road. Lily could get hurt in a car chase or worse. I'm not taking that risk." "So what are we going to do?" Jake looked her in the eyes. "We're going to stop. We're going to pick the battleground, and we're going to end this tonight." "Jake, I need you to trust me, Emma. Can you do that?" She stared at him for a long moment. Then she nodded. "I trust you. With my life. With Lily's life." "Good. Now get back in the truck, and whatever happens, whatever you hear, whatever you see, stay inside. Keep Lily down. Don't come out until I tell you it's safe. Promise me you'll come back." Jake cupped her face in his hands. "I promise." He kissed her forehead. Then he turned away and started making calls. The abandoned truck stop sat at the end of a dirt road, hidden from the highway by a ridge of rocks. Perfect for an ambush. Perfect for a last stand. Big Tommy parked the truck behind the main building, out of sight. Hawk and Doc took positions on the roof, rifles ready. Jake stood in the middle of the empty lot, watching the road, waiting. Razor had sent 4 more men, 8 bikers total, plus Jake, against Derek and his 2 hired guns. The odds were in their favor. But Jake had learned long ago that numbers didn't always matter. What mattered was who wanted it more. And Derek Mason wanted Emma back with a obsession that bordered on madness. The headlights appeared at 4:17 a.m. Jake saw them first, 3 sets of lights moving fast down the dirt road, kicking up clouds of dust. He took a breath, centered himself, and walked forward to meet them. The vehicle stopped 50 feet away. Doors opened. Derek climbed out of the lead car, flanked by 2 men who looked like they'd been in and out of prison their whole lives. "Jake Sullivan!" Derek's voice was loud, mocking. "I should have known you'd be waiting for me." "You should have stayed in Mexico, Derek." "And let you steal my woman? My family?" Derek spat on the ground. "Emma belongs to me. Lily belongs to me. And I'm not leaving without them." "Emma was never yours. She was your prisoner, your punching bag. And Lily? That little girl is terrified of you." "What kind of father terrorizes his own child?" "She's not even my kid," Derek screamed. "But I raised her. I put a roof over her head. I fed her, clothed her. That makes her mine." Jake's hands curled into fists. "You're sick." "Maybe, but I'm also here, and I'm not leaving alone." Derek raised a hand. His men drew their weapons, 2 pistols aimed at Jake's chest. Jake didn't flinch. "You really want to do this?" "I really do." "Then let's do it." Everything happened at once. Hawk fired from the rooftop, taking out one of Derek's men with a single shot. The second man spun, trying to return fire, but Doc dropped him before he could pull the trigger. Derek dove for cover behind his car. Jake moved. He crossed the distance in seconds, grabbing Derek by the collar and dragging him out into the open. Derek swung wildly, connecting with Jake's jaw, but Jake barely felt. He was running on something beyond adrenaline now. Rage, grief, 20 years of guilt all compressed into this single moment. You killed a man in Mexico, Jake said, punching Derek in the stomach. An innocent man, just to get back at me. Derek doubled over, gasping. He was in my way. He had a family, kids, people who loved him. Jake hit him again. Just like Emma, just like Lily. They're mine. They were never yours. Jake grabbed Derek's throat and slammed him against the car. You want to know what you are, Derek? You're a coward, a bully, a man so small, so pathetic, that the only way you can feel big is by hurting people who can't fight back. Derek clawed at Jake's hands. You can't kill me. You're not a murderer. You're right, I'm not. Jake released him. Derek crumpled to the ground, coughing. But I am a man who keeps his promises, and I promised Lily that you would never hurt her again. He pulled out his gun and pressed it against Derek's forehead. Last chance, walk away, disappear, never come back, or I pull this trigger and end this right now. Derek stared up at him, fear in his eyes. Real fear. You won't do it. Try me. Silence. The wind blew dust across the empty lot. Jake's finger tightened on the trigger. Jake! Emma's voice cut through the night. Jake froze. She was standing at the corner of the building, Lily clutched to her chest, both of them watching. Don't, Emma said. Please don't. Emma, get back. He's not worth it, Jake. He's not worth losing your soul over. Jake looked at her, at Lily, at the two people who had become his whole world in just a few short weeks. Then he looked at Derek, bloody, broken, terrified, and he lowered the gun. Get up. Derek scrambled to his feet. You're going to prison, Jake said. The man you killed in Mexico, his family will make sure you never see daylight again. I have connections, friends in the federal government. They're going to make sure you rot. You can't watch me. Jake grabbed Derek's arm and twisted it behind his back. Razor, get over here. We're taking him in. Razor appeared out of the darkness, zip ties in hand. You sure about this, Prez? I'm sure. He's not worth killing, but he's going to spend the rest of his life paying for what he did. They zip-tied Derek's hands behind his back. He struggled, cursed, screamed, but it was over. He had nothing left. Jake walked back to Emma and Lily. The little girl was crying, her face buried in her mother's shoulder. Emma was crying too, but she was smiling through the tears. It's over, Jake said. Really over this time. Emma threw her arms around him. Jake held her tight, breathing in the scent of her hair, feeling her heart beat against his chest. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for not killing him. I wanted to. God, I wanted to. I know, but you didn't. That's what matters. Lily tugged on his jacket. Jake looked down. Is the bad man going away forever? Yes, sweetheart, forever. And you're staying with us? Jake looked at Emma. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. Yeah, Jake said. I'm staying. Lily wrapped her arms around his leg and held on tight. And Jake Sullivan, a man who had spent 20 years running from his past, finally found something worth staying for. The sun rose over the desert as they drove away from the truck stop. Derek sat in the back of Hawk's truck, handcuffed and broken, heading toward a fate worse than death. Jake rode his bike alongside Big Tommy's truck, Emma and Lily visible through the window. Lily was asleep again, her head in her mother's lap. Emma was watching Jake with an expression he couldn't quite name. Love, maybe, or hope, or both. His phone buzzed. Razor. It's done. I made some calls. The feds are picking Derek up in 2 hours. Between the murder in Mexico and the assault charges in Arizona, he's looking at life. Good. What about you? What's the plan now? Jake looked at the truck, at the woman and child inside, at the future he'd never thought he'd have. Colorado, he said. We're going to Colorado. And after that? Jake smiled. After that, I'm going to learn how to live again. He hung up the phone and accelerated, pulling alongside the truck. Emma rolled down the window. Where to? she asked. Home, Jake said. We're going home. Colorado welcomed them with open skies and clean air. The apartment was small but warm. 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, a living room with windows that looked out over the mountains. Nothing fancy, nothing expensive, but it was safe. That was all that mattered. The first night, Lily refused to sleep in her own room. Can I stay with you and Mommy? She asked Jake, her eyes wide and worried. Just for tonight? Jake looked at Emma. She nodded slightly. Sure, sweetheart, just for tonight. They pushed the beds together and made a nest of blankets and pillows. Lily curled up between them, one hand holding Emma's, the other clutching Jake's jacket like a lifeline. Jake? Her voice was small in the darkness. Yeah? Are we really safe now? Jake thought about Derek, handcuffed in the back of a federal transport van. He thought about the charges: murder, assault, kidnapping, flight across state lines, life in prison, minimum. Yeah, he said, we're really safe. Promise? Promise. She was asleep within minutes. Jake lay awake, listening to her breathe, feeling the weight of responsibility settle over him like a second skin. He'd spent 32 years living for himself, riding where he wanted, fighting when he needed to, answering to no one. Now he had a family. The thought terrified him more than any fight ever had. Jake, Emma's whisper cut through the darkness. You're still awake. Can't sleep. Me neither. She reached across Lily's sleeping form and found his hand, their fingers intertwined. Thank you, Emma said, for everything. You don't have to keep thanking me. Yes, I do, because no one has ever done anything like this for me. No one has ever put themselves on the line the way you have. Her voice caught. I don't know how to repay you. You don't owe me anything, Emma. I didn't do this for payment. Then why? Why did you do it? Jake was quiet for a long moment. The question had been haunting him for weeks. Because when I saw you in that diner, I saw a chance to make things right. All those years of guilt, all those nightmares about Sarah, for the first time, I saw a way to balance the scales. And now that it's over, now I'm starting to realize that maybe it wasn't just about Sarah. Maybe it was about finding something I didn't even know I was looking for. What's that? Jake squeezed her hand. A reason to keep going. Emma was crying. He could hear it in her breathing, feel it in the way her hand trembled in his. I'm falling in love with you, she whispered. I know it's crazy. I know it's too soon, but I can't help it. Jake's heart stopped, then started again, harder than before. Emma, you don't have to say anything. I just needed you to know. He should have stayed quiet. He should have let it go. But something in him, some part that had been frozen for 20 years, cracked open. It's not crazy, he said, and it's not too soon. It's exactly right. He heard her breath catch. Jake, I love you, Emma. I think I have since the moment I saw you in that diner. I just didn't know what to call it. Lily stirred between them, murmuring something in her sleep. They both froze, waiting. She settled back down. Emma laughed softly, wiping her eyes. We should probably wait until morning to continue this conversation. Probably. Jake? Yeah? I'm glad you walked into that diner. Jake smiled in the darkness. Me too. The first week was the hardest. Jake didn't know how to be normal. He didn't know how to grocery shop or pay bills or sit through a dinner without checking the exits. He paced the apartment at night, unable to shake the feeling that danger was lurking just around the corner. Emma caught him one night, standing by the window at 3 a.m., watching the empty street below. You need to sleep, she said. I will. Soon. Jake, she put her hand on his arm. Derek is in prison. He can't hurt us anymore. I know. Then why are you still watching? He didn't answer, because the truth was he didn't know how to stop. 20 years of vigilance didn't just disappear overnight. Come to bed, Emma said softly. Please. He let her lead him away from the window. He let her wrap her arms around him in the darkness. He let himself believe, just for a moment, that everything would be okay. But the nightmares came anyway. He was back in that motel room in Arizona. Derek was on his knees, bleeding. Jake had the gun pressed to his forehead. But in the dream, he pulled the trigger. And when Derek fell, he had Sarah's face. Jake woke up screaming. Emma was there immediately, her hands on his face, her voice in his ear. Jake, it's okay. You're safe. He was shaking, sweating, his heart pounding so hard he thought it might explode. I killed her, he gasped. In the dream, I killed her. Sarah? No, yes, both, I don't know. He buried his face in his hands. What's wrong with me? Emma held him. She didn't say anything. She just held him and let him break. And somehow, that was exactly what he needed. The second week brought a new challenge. Lily started asking questions. Jake, are you my daddy now? They were sitting at the kitchen table, eating breakfast. Emma froze with her coffee cup halfway to her mouth. Jake set down his fork. What makes you ask that, sweetheart? Because you live with us, and you take care of us, and you love Mommy. Lily's eyes were serious. That's what daddies do. Jake looked at Emma. She looked back, her expression unreadable. It's complicated, Jake said carefully. I'm not your real daddy, but I do love you, and I do want to take care of you. So you're like a daddy, but not a daddy? Something like that. Lily considered this. Can I call you Daddy, Jake? Jake's throat tightened. If your mommy says it's okay. They both looked at Emma. She was crying again, the quiet, happy tears that Jake was starting to recognize. I think Daddy Jake sounds perfect, she said. Lily beamed. She jumped out of her chair and threw her arms around Jake's neck. I love you, Daddy Jake. Jake held her tight and closed his eyes. And for the first time in 20 years, he felt the ice around his heart begin to melt. The call came on day 15. Jake was at the grocery store, a mundane errand that still felt foreign to him, when his phone rang. Unknown number. He answered anyway. Hello? Jake Sullivan? A woman's voice, official, cold. Who's asking? Special Agent Patricia Wells, Federal Bureau of Investigation. I'm calling about Derek Mason. Jake's blood chilled. What about him? He escaped custody this morning during a transfer between facilities. 3 guards are dead. The grocery bags slipped from Jake's hand. Cans rolled across the floor. That's impossible. I wish it were. We believe he had help from the inside, someone with connections. Where is he now? Unknown, but based on his psychological profile, we believe he'll attempt to locate Emma Carter and her daughter. Mr. Sullivan, I need you to tell me where they are. Jake's mind raced. Trust the feds? They were the ones who lost him in the first place. 3 guards dead. Derek was out there, somewhere, hunting. I'll handle it, Jake said. Mr. Sullivan, this is a federal matter. I said I'll handle it. He hung up and called Razor. Brother, we have a problem. Jake made it home in 8 minutes. He burst through the door so fast Emma screamed. Jake, what's wrong? Pack a bag, now, just essentials. What? Why? Derek escaped. He's coming. Emma's face went white. No, that's not possible. You said, I know what I said. I was wrong. Now pack, we need to move. Lily appeared in her bedroom doorway, clutching a stuffed rabbit. Mommy, what's happening? Emma snapped into motion. She grabbed Lily's hand and pulled her toward the bedroom. It's okay, baby. We're just going on a trip, a little adventure. Is the bad man coming back? Emma couldn't answer. Jake crouched down in front of Lily. Remember what I told you about keeping my promises? Lily nodded, her lower lip trembling. I'm going to keep you safe, no matter what, but I need you to be brave. Can you do that for me? I can be brave. That's my girl. He kissed her forehead and stood up. 5 minutes. We're leaving in 5 minutes. His phone rang again. Razor. Jake, I got bad news. Worse than Derek escaping? Yeah, we've got intel that he's already in Colorado. He must have had transportation waiting. Jake's heart stopped. How close? Close, brother. Real close. How close? Silence. Then, we think he's been watching the apartment. One of my guys spotted a car parked down the street. Been there for 3 days. We didn't think anything of it, but... Jake looked out the window. A black sedan sat at the corner, engine idling. I see him. Jake, don't. Jake hung up. He grabbed his gun from the bedside drawer and checked the chamber. Jake. Emma stood in the doorway, a bag over her shoulder, Lily clinging to her leg. What are you doing? Buying you time. There's a fire escape out the bedroom window. Take Lily. Go down. Big Tommy's waiting in the alley. I'm not leaving you. You don't have a choice. He grabbed her face and kissed her hard. I love you. Now go. Jake, go. She went. Jake watched from the window as Emma and Lily climbed down the fire escape. Big Tommy's truck waited in the alley, engine running. They got in. The truck pulled away. Jake exhaled. Then he walked to the front door and opened it. Derek Mason stood on the other side. He looked different, thinner, wilder. Prison had stripped away whatever thin veneer of civilization he'd once possessed. His eyes were the eyes of a rabid animal, hungry, desperate, dangerous. Hello, Jake. Derek, where are they? Gone. You're too late. Derek's face twisted. You think I'm stupid? I saw the truck leave. I know where they're going. Then why are you here? Because I'm going to kill you first. I'm going to make you watch while I hurt them, and then I'm going to take back what's mine. Jake raised his gun. You're going to try. Derek moved faster than Jake expected. He grabbed Jake's wrist and twisted, sending the gun clattering across the floor. They crashed through the doorway into the apartment, grappling, punching, kicking. Derek was younger, stronger, fueled by madness. But Jake was fighting for something bigger than himself. They slammed into the kitchen table, chairs scattered, dishes shattered. Derek got his hands around Jake's throat and squeezed. You took everything from me, Derek hissed. My woman, my daughter, my life. Jake clawed at Derek's hands. His vision was going dark. They were never yours, he gasped. They belonged to me. Jake's hand found a kitchen knife on the counter. He grabbed it and drove it into Derek's shoulder. Derek screamed and released him. Jake rolled away, gasping for air. You're done, Derek. Even if you kill me, my brothers will hunt you down. You'll never get to Emma. You'll never get to Lily. Then I'll die trying. Derek yanked the knife from his shoulder and advanced. But I'm taking you with me. He lunged. Jake sidestepped, grabbed Derek's arm, and used his momentum to slam him into the wall. Then he hit him, again, and again, and again. That's for Emma, punch. That's for Lily, punch. And that's for Sarah. The final blow sent Derek crashing to the floor. He didn't get up. Jake stood over him, breathing hard, blood dripping from his split knuckles. It's over, Derek. It's finally over. He pulled out his phone and dialed 911. I need police and an ambulance. Apartment 4B, Maple Street. Suspect is in custody. He's not going anywhere. He hung up and slumped against the wall. It was over. Really over. This time for good. The police arrived in 7 minutes. Paramedics in 9. Derek was alive, barely, and heading for a maximum security hospital ward, followed by a maximum security prison cell. Jake sat on the curb outside the apartment, a blanket around his shoulders, an EMT cleaning the cuts on his face. His phone buzzed. Emma. Jake, are you okay? I'm okay. Is he in custody? For real this time. They're putting him in a facility with no windows and no doors. He's never getting out. Emma started crying. I was so scared. When you told us to run, I thought, I know, but it's over now. Come home." "Home?" Jake smiled even though it hurt. "Yeah, home. This apartment, this town, this life." He paused. "This family." "Jake Sullivan, are you asking us to stay?" "I'm asking you to stay forever." Silence. Then, "We're on our way." Jake hung up and looked at the sky. The sun was setting over the mountains, painting everything gold and pink and orange. He thought about Sarah, about the guilt he'd carried for 20 years, about the promise he'd made over her grave. "I did it, Sarah," he whispered. "I saved them. I kept my promise." The wind blew softly, carrying the scent of pine trees and clean air. And Jake Sullivan, for the first time in his life, felt free. They came back an hour later. Lily jumped out of the truck before it even stopped moving. She ran to Jake and threw herself into his arms. "Daddy Jake, you're okay." Jake held her tight. "I told you I'd be okay." "I was scared. I was so scared." "I know, sweetheart, but you were brave. You did exactly what I asked." Emma walked up behind Lily. Her face was tear-stained, her eyes red from crying, but she was smiling. "Hi," she said. "Hi. You look terrible." "Thanks, I feel worse." She laughed, a real laugh, bright and beautiful, and pulled him into a hug. Jake wrapped his arms around both of them, Emma and Lily, his family, his reason for living. "It's really over?" Emma asked. "It's really over." "Then what happens now?" Jake pulled back and looked at her. At this woman who had survived hell and come out the other side. At the mother who would do anything for her child. At the person who had somehow impossibly fallen in love with him. "Now we live," Jake said. "Now we start building something real. A home, a family, a future. And your brothers, the club? They'll always be my brothers, but my family is here." He touched Lily's cheek. "Right here." "Can we get a dog?" Lily asked. Jake laughed. For the first time in 20 years, he genuinely laughed. "Sure, sweetheart, we can get a dog." "And a cat?" "Let's start with the dog and see how it goes." Emma took his hand. "Come on, let's go inside. I'll make dinner." "Can you cook?" "Terribly, but I'm willing to learn." "Then we'll learn together." They walked back into the apartment, this small, ordinary place that had become something extraordinary. A home, a sanctuary, a new beginning. The phone rang one more time that night. Jake almost didn't answer, but something made him pick up. "Jake Sullivan?" "Yeah?" "This is Special Agent Wells again. I wanted to let you know, Derek Mason is in custody, high security, no chance of escape this time." "I know, I'm the one who put him there." A pause. "So I heard. Mr. Sullivan, I have to say, what you did was incredibly reckless and completely illegal. Are you going to arrest me?" Another pause. "No, I'm going to thank you. Derek Mason was one of the most dangerous men we've ever tracked. The way you protected that woman and her child," Wells cleared her throat. "You're a good man, Mr. Sullivan." "I'm trying to be." "Keep trying. The world needs more men like you." She hung up. Jake put down the phone and walked to the bedroom. Emma was reading a book to Lily, their voices soft and warm. He leaned against the doorframe and watched. This was his life now. This woman, this child, this ordinary, extraordinary existence. And he wouldn't trade it for anything. Lily looked up and saw him. "Daddy Jake, come read with us." He walked over and sat on the bed. Lily crawled into his lap. Emma leaned against his shoulder. "Where were we?" Jake asked. "The princess was trapped in the tower," Lily said, "and the knight was coming to save her." Jake smiled. "I like stories about knights." "Me too." Lily looked up at him with those big, trusting eyes. "You're my knight, Daddy Jake." Jake's throat tightened. He kissed the top of her head. "Always, sweetheart, always." They read until Lily fell asleep. Then Jake carried her to her room and tucked her in. "Sweet dreams, princess." "Good night, Daddy Jake." He turned off the light and closed the door. Emma was waiting for him in the hallway. Thank you, she said. For what? For being here, for staying, for fighting for us. Jake took her hands. I'll always fight for you, both of you. That's a promise. I believe you. She kissed him, soft, gentle, full of hope. Come on, she said. Let's go to bed. Together? Together. They walked to the bedroom hand in hand, and as Jake lay down beside the woman he loved, he realized something. He wasn't just learning to live, he was learning to love. And that was the greatest lesson of all. 6 months changed everything. Jake woke up to the smell of coffee and the sound of Lily singing in the kitchen. Some cartoon theme song she'd learned at school, off-key and perfect. He lay there for a moment, listening. 6 months ago, he'd been a man with nothing to live for, a ghost riding highways, running from memories he couldn't escape. Now he had this, a home, a family, a reason to wake up every morning. Emma appeared in the doorway, a cup of coffee in each hand. You're awake. Hard to sleep with that concert going on. Emma laughed. She's been practicing for the school talent show. 3 weeks of the same song, over and over. I noticed. She handed him a cup and sat on the edge of the bed. Big day today. Jake nodded. He'd been thinking about it all week. Today was the day they'd been planning for months. The day everything became official. You nervous? Emma asked. Terrified. Good. That makes 2 of us. Lily burst into the room without knocking. She'd stopped being shy about 3 months ago. Daddy Jake, Mommy, it's today. It's finally today. She launched herself onto the bed, nearly spilling both cups of coffee. Jake caught her and pulled her into his lap. Easy, sweetheart, the day's not going anywhere. But the judge is. Mommy said if we're late, the judge will be mad. The judge won't be mad. Judges are very patient people. Is that true? Jake looked at Emma. She shrugged. Probably not, Jake admitted, but we're not going to be late, I promise. Lily threw her arms around his neck. I can't believe it's really happening. After today, you're going to be my real daddy. Jake's throat tightened. He'd been preparing for this moment, but nothing could have prepared him for how it felt to hear those words. I've always been your real daddy, he said. Today just makes it official. The courthouse was packed. Jake hadn't expected so many people. But word had spread through the Hells Angels network, and his brothers had shown up in force. Razor, Big Tommy, Hawk, Doc, all of them in clean jeans and pressed shirts, looking uncomfortable but proud. Never thought I'd see the day, Razor said, clapping Jake on the shoulder. Iron Jake Sullivan, adopting a kid. The guys back home aren't going to believe it. They can believe whatever they want. This is happening. I know, brother, and I'm happy for you. We all are. Jake looked around at his brothers, these men who had ridden with him through hell and back. They'd protected Emma and Lily when it mattered most. They'd stood by him when everyone else would have walked away. Thanks for being here, Jake said. All of you. Wouldn't miss it for the world, Big Tommy said. Besides, there's cake after, right? There's cake. Then I'm definitely not missing it. The bailiff called their names. Jake took Emma's hand. Lily walked between them, holding both their hands. They stepped into the courtroom. Judge Harrison was an older woman with silver hair and sharp eyes. She'd seen thousands of cases in her career, but something about this one made her smile. Mr. Sullivan, Mrs. Carter, and this must be Lily. Lily stepped forward, suddenly shy. Yes, ma'am. I've read your file, young lady. It says you want Mr. Sullivan to become your legal father. Is that true? Lily nodded vigorously. More than anything. Why? It was a simple question, but Lily's answer wasn't simple at all. Because he saved us, Lily said. When the bad man was hurting Mommy, everyone else looked away. But Daddy Jake didn't. He stood up for us. He fought for us. He made us safe. She paused, her little face serious. That's what real daddies do. They protect their families, and Daddy Jake is the best protector in the whole world. The courtroom was silent. Judge Harrison blinked. Was that a tear in her eye? Mr. Sullivan, she said, her voice slightly rough, do you have anything to say? Jake stepped forward. He'd prepared a speech, written it out, practiced it 100 times. He forgot every word. I spent 20 years running, he said instead, running from guilt, from grief, from the memory of someone I couldn't save. He looked at Emma and Lily. Then I walked into a diner in Arizona, and I saw a woman with a bruise on her lip, and something in me broke, or maybe something in me healed. I'm still not sure which. He took a breath. I didn't save Lily and Emma because I'm a hero. I saved them because saving them saved me. They gave me a reason to live, a reason to hope, a reason to believe that maybe, I wasn't too broken to love. Emma was crying. Lily was holding her hand, looking up at Jake with eyes full of trust. Your Honor, I know my record isn't clean. I know I've made mistakes. But I swear to you, on my life, on my soul, on everything I hold sacred, I will spend the rest of my days protecting this family, loving this family, being the father Lily deserves. Judge Harrison was definitely crying now. She wiped her eyes and cleared her throat. Well, Mr. Sullivan, that was quite possibly the most moving statement I've ever heard in this courtroom. She picked up her gavel. It is my great pleasure to grant this adoption petition. As of this moment, Lily Carter is legally and permanently Lily Sullivan. The gavel came down. The courtroom erupted in cheers. Lily screamed and jumped into Jake's arms. Emma threw her arms around both of them. The Hells Angels whistled and stomped their boots. And Jake Sullivan, the man who had lost everything, the man who had found redemption in the most unexpected place, finally allowed himself to cry. The party went late into the night. Someone had rented out the back room of a restaurant. There was food and music and dancing. Lily stayed up way past her bedtime, spinning around the dance floor with various bikers who handled her like she was made of glass. Jake watched from the corner, a beer in his hand, a smile on his face. Emma found him there. What are you thinking about? Sarah. Emma's smile faded slightly. What about her? I think she'd be happy. I think she'd be proud of me. Jake took a breath. I spent so long hating myself for not saving her. But maybe this was how I was supposed to honor her memory. Not by dying with her, but by living for someone else. Emma took his hand. She'd be proud, Jake. I know she would. How do you know? Because I know you, and anyone who knew you, who really knew you, would be proud of the man you've become. Jake pulled her close. I love you, Emma Sullivan. I love you too, Jake Sullivan. She smiled. We should probably get married at some point. Make it official. Is that a proposal? I don't know. Is that a yes? Jake laughed. Woman, I've been waiting for you to ask me that for months. Then say yes. Yes. 1,000 times yes. Emma kissed him. Deep, passionate, full of promise. Ew, Mommy and Daddy are kissing. Lily appeared out of nowhere, her face scrunched up in mock disgust. Jake scooped her up and planted a kiss on her cheek. Get used to it, kid. We're getting married. Lily's eyes went wide. Really? For real? For real? Does that mean I get to be a flower girl? You can be whatever you want. I want to be a flower girl and a ring bearer and a bridesmaid. That's a lot of jobs for one kid. I can handle it. I'm very responsible. Jake and Emma exchanged a look. Then they both burst out laughing. This was their family, chaotic and beautiful and absolutely perfect. The wedding was small, private, just family and close friends. They held it at the cabin in Arizona, the same cabin where they'd hidden from Derek, where they'd fallen in love, where they'd become a family. Lily was, as promised, the flower girl and ring bearer and unofficial bridesmaid. She took all 3 jobs very seriously. Razor was the best man. He'd never looked more uncomfortable in his life, squeezed into a suit 2 sizes too small. You owe me for this, he muttered to Jake before the ceremony. I owe you for a lot more than this, brother. Damn right you do. The ceremony was simple. No fancy decorations, no elaborate vows, just Jake and Emma standing under a canopy of trees, pledging their lives to each other. Jake Sullivan, Emma said, her voice steady and strong. I spent years believing I didn't deserve love. I thought I was too broken, too damaged, too far gone. And then you walked into my life and proved me wrong. You showed me that love isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up. Every day, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Jake's eyes were burning. He didn't try to stop the tears. I love you, Emma continued. I love the man you are and the man you're still becoming. I love the way you look at Lily like she hung the moon. I love the way you hold me at night when the nightmares come. I love everything about you, Jake Sullivan, and I promise to spend the rest of my life showing you how much. Jake took a breath. His turn. Emma, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. I've hurt people. I've let people down. I've run from everything good because I didn't think I deserved it. He paused. But you and Lily, you made me believe that maybe I was wrong. Maybe I do deserve good things. Maybe I do deserve love. He took her hands. I promise to protect you, always. I promise to love you, always. I promise to be the husband you deserve and the father Lily needs. I promise to stay, Emma, no matter what, no matter how hard it gets. I'm not going anywhere. The minister smiled. By the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride. Jake pulled Emma into his arms and kissed her. The small crowd cheered. Lily jumped up and down. Somewhere in the back, Big Tommy was crying into a handkerchief. And Jake Sullivan, former president of the Hells Angels, former lost soul, current husband and father, felt his heart overflow with joy. The first year of marriage was beautiful and brutal. Beautiful because every morning, Jake woke up next to the woman he loved. Because Lily called him Dad without the Jake now. Because they were building something real, something lasting, something good. Brutal because healing wasn't linear. Because Emma still had nightmares about Derek. Because Jake still woke up sometimes, heart pounding, convinced that danger was lurking around every corner. They fought about stupid things, dishes and laundry and who forgot to pick Lily up from soccer practice. They fought about real things, money and Jake's overprotectiveness and Emma's tendency to push him away when she was hurting. But they always made up, always talked it through, always chose each other over and over again. This is harder than I thought it would be, Emma admitted one night. They were lying in bed, the house quiet, Lily long asleep. What is? Being happy. I keep waiting for something to go wrong, for the other shoe to drop. Jake turned to face her. Maybe nothing's going to go wrong. Maybe this is just our life now. Do you really believe that? I'm trying to. Emma snuggled closer. I love you, Jake. I love you too, Emma. Even when I'm difficult? Especially when you're difficult. She laughed softly. You're a good man, Jake Sullivan. I'm trying to be. You're succeeding. The call came 18 months after the wedding. Jake was at the hardware store, buying supplies to fix the leaky faucet that had been driving Emma crazy for weeks. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer, but something made him pick up. Is this Jake Sullivan? Who's asking? My name is Michael Brooks. You don't know me, but I think you knew my mother. Jake's blood went cold. What? Sarah Brooks. She was your sister, which makes you my uncle. Jake dropped the bag of supplies. It hit the floor with a crash. That's not possible. Sarah didn't have any children. She did. She had me. She gave me up for adoption when I was 2 months old. The man she was with, he didn't know. She gave me away to protect me. Jake's hands were shaking. How did you find me? DNA test, those ancestry websites. I've been looking for my birth family for years. And then your name came up. Jake Sullivan. Brother to Sarah Brooks. A pause. I know this is a lot, but I wanted to meet you. I wanted to know something, anything, about the woman who gave birth to me. Jake couldn't speak, couldn't breathe, couldn't think. Sarah had a son. Sarah had a child. All these years he'd been grieving a sister who left nothing behind, and the whole time there was a piece of her still in the world. Mr. Sullivan, are you still there? I'm here, Jake's voice cracked. I'm here, and yes, I want to meet you. I want to tell you everything about your mother. The meeting was harder than anything Jake had ever done. He drove to Denver alone. Emma offered to come, but he needed to do this himself. Michael Brooks was waiting at a coffee shop. He was 32 years old, the same age Sarah had been when she died. He had her eyes, her smile, that same way of tilting his head when he was thinking. Jake almost collapsed when he saw him. Uncle Jake? Just Jake, please. They sat down. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. You look like her, Jake finally said. It's almost painful how much you look like her. Michael's eyes glistened. Tell me about her. Tell me everything. So Jake did. He told Michael about growing up with Sarah, about her laugh, loud and contagious and impossible to resist, about her dreams of being a nurse, of helping people, of making a difference, about her kindness, her stubbornness, her fierce love for everyone around her. He told Michael about the man who had taken all of that away, who had beaten Sarah down until she was a shadow of herself, who had isolated her from everyone who loved her until she had no one left to turn to. He told Michael about the night Sarah died, about the guilt he'd carried, about the years of running, of hiding, of hating himself for not saving her. And then he told Michael about Emma and Lily, about finding redemption in the most unexpected place, about learning that it was never too late to become the man you were supposed to be. When he finished, Michael was crying. I wish I'd known her, he said. I wish you had too. But I know you, and through you, I can know her. Michael reached across the table and took Jake's hand. Thank you. Thank you for telling me the truth. Thank you for keeping her memory alive. Jake squeezed his hand. Family sticks together. That's what Sarah always said. Then I guess we're family. Yeah, I guess we are. Jake brought Michael home to meet Emma and Lily. It was awkward at first. How do you explain to a 7-year-old that she has a cousin she never knew about? How do you introduce your wife to the nephew you didn't know existed? But Emma, as always, rose to the occasion. Welcome to the family, she said, pulling Michael into a hug. We've got plenty of room at the table. Lily was fascinated. So you're Daddy's nephew? But you're old. Michael laughed. I'm not that old. You're older than Mommy. Okay, maybe I'm a little old. Lily studied him seriously. Do you like dinosaurs? I love dinosaurs. Then we're going to be friends. Just like that, the family got a little bigger. Michael started coming for Sunday dinners. He and Jake would sit on the porch for hours talking about Sarah, about life, about everything they'd missed. I have a daughter, Michael told him one night. She's 4. Her name is Sarah. Jake's heart stopped. You named her after your mother. I didn't know anything about her when my daughter was born, but I knew somewhere deep inside that the name meant something, that it was important. Jake wiped his eyes. She would have loved that. I hope so. I know so. Lily and little Sarah became inseparable. Cousins who played together, fought together, drove their parents crazy together. The house that had once been quiet was now filled with laughter and noise and chaos. It was perfect. It was everything Jake had never allowed himself to dream of. The anniversary crept up on Jake without warning. 21 years since Sarah's death. He woke up that morning with a weight in his chest. Emma noticed immediately. Today's the day, isn't it? Jake nodded. Do you want me to come with you? He thought about it. For 20 years, he'd made this trip alone. Driven to the cemetery in Nevada, stood at Sarah's grave, apologized for not saving her. But this year was different. This year, he wasn't alone anymore. "Yeah," he said, "I want you to come. And Lily. And Michael." They drove to Nevada together, the whole family, 4 generations connected by blood and love and loss. The cemetery was quiet. Sarah's grave was small, a simple headstone with her name and dates. Jake had never been able to afford anything bigger. He knelt beside it. "Hey, Sarah, it's been a while." Emma stood behind him, her hand on his shoulder. Lily held a bouquet of wildflowers. Michael stood to the side, tears already streaming down his face. "I wanted you to meet some people," Jake continued. "This is Emma. She's my wife. She saved my life, Sarah, just like I couldn't save yours. She found me when I was lost and brought me home." He took Lily's hand. "And this is Lily. She's my daughter. Officially and legally and in every way that matters. She calls me Dad now, Sarah. Me. Can you believe it?" Lily stepped forward and placed the flowers on the grave. "Hi, Aunt Sarah. I never got to meet you, but Daddy Jake tells me stories about you all the time. He says you were brave and kind, and that you always stood up for people who couldn't stand up for themselves." She paused. "That's what Daddy Jake does too. I think you'd be really proud of him." Jake's tears were flowing freely now. He didn't try to stop them. "And this is Michael," he said. "Your son, Sarah, the one you gave away to protect. He found me. He found us. And he's got a daughter, a little girl named Sarah, just like you." Michael knelt beside Jake. "Hi, Mom. I know you can't hear me, but I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for giving me life. Thank you for loving me enough to let me go. And thank you for leading me to Uncle Jake. Through him, I finally know who you were, and I couldn't be more proud to be your son." They stayed at the grave for an hour, talking, laughing, crying, remembering. When it was time to leave, Jake placed his hand on the headstone. "I kept my promise, Sarah. I protected someone who couldn't protect herself. I found a family. I found love. I found peace." He took a breath. "I forgive myself. Finally, after all these years, I forgive myself." The wind blew softly through the cemetery, and Jake could have sworn he felt something brush against his cheek, like a kiss, like a blessing, like forgiveness. They drove home as the sun was setting. Lily fell asleep in the back seat, her head on Michael's shoulder. Emma held Jake's hand across the center console. "You okay?" she asked. "Better than okay. I feel like, I don't know, like something finally settled. Like the thing I've been carrying for 20 years is finally gone. It's called peace, Jake. It's what happens when you stop punishing yourself for things that weren't your fault." He looked at her, this woman who had walked through fire and come out stronger. This woman who had taught him how to love again. "Thank you," he said. "For what?" "For everything. For giving me a chance when I didn't deserve one. For loving me when I didn't know how to love myself. For building this life with me." Emma squeezed his hand. "We built it together, all of us." They pulled into the driveway just as the last light faded from the sky. The house was warm and welcoming, filled with the ghosts of 1,000 happy memories. Jake carried Lily inside and tucked her into bed. She stirred slightly as he kissed her forehead. "Daddy?" "Yeah, sweetheart?" "Are we home?" Jake smiled. Such a simple question. Such a complicated answer. "Yeah, baby, we're home." "Good. I like home." "Me too." He turned off the light and closed the door. Emma was waiting for him in the hallway. She wrapped her arms around him and held on tight. "I love you, Jake Sullivan." "I love you too, Emma Sullivan." They stood there for a long moment, holding each other, breathing together. And Jake Sullivan, the man who had lost everything, the man who had found redemption in a roadside diner, the man who had learned that it was never too late to start over, finally understood what it meant to be home. Home wasn't a place. Home wasn't a building or a town or a state. Home was this woman, this child, this family. Home was love. and love was everywhere. That night, Jake dreamed of Sarah. She was standing in a field of flowers, young and beautiful. The way she looked before everything went wrong. She was smiling at him. "You did good, big brother." "I tried, Sarah. I tried so hard." "I know, and I'm proud of you. I miss you." "I know, but I'm always with you, Jake. In the way you love, in the way you protect, in the way you refuse to give up on people." She reached out and touched his face. "You became the man I always knew you could be." "I love you, Sarah. I love you too. Now wake up and go live your life. That's all I ever wanted for you." Jake woke with tears on his cheeks and peace in his heart. He looked at Emma, sleeping beside him. At the photographs on the nightstand, Lily, Michael, little Sarah, the whole crazy, beautiful family they'd built. And he smiled, because this was his life now. Not the guilt, not the grief, not the endless highway stretching toward oblivion. This, love, family, home. Jake Sullivan had spent 52 years looking for something he didn't know he'd lost. And in a roadside diner in Arizona, watching a woman with a bruise on her lip, he had finally found it. Not because he was a hero, not because he was perfect, but because he had the courage to stop running, to stand up, to fight, and to love with everything he had. That was the lesson Jake Sullivan learned in the Sunset Diner on Route 66. That was the legacy he would pass on to Lily, to Michael, to little Sarah, to every life he touched. Real strength isn't about fists, it's about heart. And the heart that chooses love over fear, over anger, over grief, that heart can change the world. One bruise at a time, one life at a time, one family at a time.